Welcome to PEV Lane.
The show all about PEVs. My name is Hansen.
And my name is Brett, also known as E-Rider A. And today we have a different type of episode, don't we, Hansen?
Different how?
We have a box.
Hopefully everyone can see this okay if you're watching the video version.
Yeah, so we have a big box inside of here. We have something very special that we have been potentially wearing for the past week or so. So what do we have, Hansen?
Yeah, so some of you may have been out on the Friday sunset cruises, and
In
if
Toronto.
so, you may have already seen Brett wearing these. So inside this box, we have a very special pair of shoes.
Electric Unicycle shoes.
That's right, and these are known as the Performance-1s by a company that's local here from the Greater Toronto area in Canada, and they are known as Kinetic D.L.
Yes, or Kinetic Design Lab. So
That's right.
basically, this guy has been riding EUC for a little while and has noticed there are common issues with foot fatigue when it comes to specifically riding EUC. So he has made a shoe designed to help, I guess, mitigate a lot of those problems that a lot of, everyday users have.
Yeah, and at the same time provide a bunch of extra functionality and features that you probably wouldn't find in like a pair of running shoes or
Yeah.
other shoes that you might be wearing to ride your PEV.
Exactly. Let's get in there. Now, we may have reboxed this, but there is an official box inside, right?
That's right.
These are fresh shoes. They haven't been worn by anybody. So, here we go. Now, I believe there's some videos that have been made for this, correct?
Yes, we do have some videos. There we go. Take that. Get rid of that box.
Get out of here.
So maybe we can show this to the camera first.
Yes.
We got like the official logo there. This is size 10.5 US.
Yeah, so we have right now, Kinetic D.L has this shoe, the Performance-1, which is, there are specific designs to it and whatnot, and I believe there's a video. Should we show the video?
Yeah, let's roll the clip.
Let's roll the clip. All right, so we have the shoes, the Kinetic D.L Performance-1 shoes. What can we say about these? We saw the video. We saw everything that was inside of the shoe there. At least not too much information, but
Yeah.
enough where you see what's going on.
I think we should talk about the sole first, which you probably saw in the
Yes.
clip, which the sole of this shoe was specifically designed for riding electric unicycles, and it is also a patented pending sole design. So it's got a unique pattern on the bottom that kind of aligns with the size of a standard EUC pedal.
Yeah,
for
so
the
you
tread
see
pattern.
the different designs. That is generally the length of a pedal. And when I put it up and when I ride with it for the past little while, it's lined up pretty well.
Yeah, of course
Yeah.
it'll vary by size slightly with the shoe sizes, but yeah, so you can see here on the side you have your Kinetic protection pad branding and the E-Unicycle there.
And you get this keychain, you take it off, and you could use it as a keychain or whatever. But yeah, so there's a lot of designs put into this, especially what you said right there in the ankle. What is that bone? I guess we should probably know the name of
We'll
that.
throw it up when text on the screen.
Yeah, but the guy who has created this shoe, he knows all about just the intricacies of what happens in your feet and what you need to protect, and has thought a lot about that. So there's protection there. There's also a harder plastic cap on the back heel. That's really, really nice.
Provides protection for your Achilles.
There's venting on the inside that's just enough enough venting where your feet don't sweat up too much, and I could testify to that after riding for a little bit with them.
Yep, these are a full upper leather shoe, so the
proper leather.
The entire upper is real leather.
Yeah, I think the one thing that attracted us to this shoe is that he made an emphasis on only using high quality products, which then would drive up the price. But at the end of the day, you're getting a very high quality product.
It'll last longer, right?
Which on an EUC, you get bashed up a lot, right?
Yeah.
So, but I think the whole package, the top is nice, but the main thing that we're going to come back to is that sole. One really cool thing about this sole is that it's been very, very well designed on the inside for what happens with an EUC and the impacts that come back up to your feet. But it's just in the end very firm. The quote that's being thrown around there is that it's power pads for your feet. And I'm only saying that because I felt that feeling of when I torqued forward, there was more pressure on my toe without that sole having to flex as much. Like I have to push
like
pretty
a running
hard.
shoe will just fold in half, basically.
And there is so much pressure on that toe already, and I don't have to push as hard. So the how stiff this is really just giving me so much more torque. And I've been thinking about power pads recently, but now I'm thinking about just leaving on my lean pads.
Yeah, but somehow it's also stiff and protective, but also comfortable.
Yeah, because the top half here, it's very malleable.
Exactly, and there's a nice padded sole liner on the inside. Like the shoe, the inner sole, I guess it's called.
Yeah.
So we can actually take it out and show it.
Yeah, why not?
But the inner sole here has some really thick padding, and some shoes you get like the inner sole is just like a tiny little piece of fabric or cardboard.
Yeah, for sure. And like when you get other shoes, you pull out the sole and it is literally this paperweight. Like it's like literally sort of paperweight. It is the the design is so slick. Oh, yeah.
There we go. So it's got some good thickness to it, especially in the heel area, and it's very firm. And there's also it's a nice padded foam at the front here, so you can actually feel how squishy but firm it is, which gives you that support.
Yeah, and talking about feeling on your feet, I know some people, especially some of the more extreme EUC riders out there, are going to say, what about the studs, though? Because I ride Vans. I ride this exact style of shoe, and I ride this Vans and Converse. And anytime I wear any of those shoes, I feel the studs. Now, the question is, do you feel the studs on these? My answer? No. You don't. The sole has just been designed so robust all the way through with all these different layers. By the time anything is trying to pressure up into your foot, it's already been taken out by some of the layers within the sole.
But you still get really good grip, right? Because the bottom is nice and soft, which allows for the pegs, or not pegs, the spikes on the pedal to kind of lock in.
Yeah, I can't speak for stock pedals, but my feet haven't really been slipping.
That's good.
My other shoes that I wear, they have this weird texture on the bottom, so they end up getting almost clung into the and almost get locked into my pedals. Yeah. Where these, I feel like I can actually move my feet and readjust them nicely,
so
and they're not
less grip.
Yeah, they're not stuck in the pedal like my other ones are. Yeah, there have shoes that are not grippy at all, or they grip way too much, or they have a design on the bottom and you have honeycomb,
and it locks in,
and it just fits in a weird way, and it's just weird. Where this is design on the bottom, it's just enough grip where it'll bite into those studs if you have them, and it'll keep your foot nicely in place. And because there are some soft sections in there as well, especially if you want to dig in and bring your foot a little bit back, and then you could feel it's a little softer in the front, so it'll grip a little bit better than in the middle where it's a little more put together and stiff. So yeah, there's a lot of benefits in that section. And I think that's just the initial feel. Now, this is the Performance-1, so it's part of a series that'll be a little bit more.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to mention next.
Geared to the high end thing.
For anyone who's interested in these, of course, go to the website, check it out. It's kineticdl.com, all one word, and on there you'll see the Performance-1, which is these shoes here that we have.
Yes.
And these are going to be the first set of shoes that will be available, so in the coming weeks, stay tuned on PEV Lane for more information, but we'll have the Performance-1s in black this exact shoe, so in all black with the white sole, will be available to purchase in stock in the coming weeks. It's a limited run, but
Yeah,
They
so
will be
they have
available.
stock right now of an X amount, and they're gonna go kind of quick. So when we give out that information, make sure you hop on this, because honestly, I wouldn't be promoting this personally if I didn't believe in it. Like, I did a lot of long range riding with it too, and my feet just felt comfortable after. So I feel comfortable vouching for this and letting the people know that this is going to be actually a pretty great product.
Yeah, and just to let everyone know, obviously we forgot to mention at the beginning, but we weren't paid to make any
Yeah,
video on these shoes. We were given a pair of the shoes to test out and to ride with. And if you keep watching, next episode we'll potentially have a pair of shoes to give away.
yeah, we're going to work on something to hopefully, give back to the people like we've always mentioned in episodes in the
Yes.
past. But
Sorry, the point that I was trying to go to with
Yes.
was with the website. Is you'll also be able to see the other shoes which you were alluding to. So these are the first ones available, the performance ones, and he'll also have the rider ones. Maybe I can
which are
screen
more of
record
a
here.
the same kind of idea, but a low cut. So this is a high cut, a high rise ankle, whatever you want to call it. And the other, what you said there is a rider one, is a low cut, same idea.
Yeah. So the rider is same kind of shoe, same sole, but with a low cut around the heel. So obviously a bit less protection in terms of armor
On the ankle itself.
But there's still heel protection and obviously toe protection. So all these have toe protection as well.
And I believe there's another product. If you're thinking, well, this is a casual shoe in a sense.
Leisure one.
There is another one called the Leisure one that is just taken out even more. So it's still got that patented sole, patent pending sole, that has really given so many more benefits than any other shoe, but it doesn't
less
have
armor.
as much armor.
Yeah.
You could wear it like
It's more
a few
walking-
blocks down to your office and back, you know,
Yeah.
and still wear them in the office and look like they're a good shoe.
Yeah, if you want a shoe that's more casual and can be used more for just like walking around and stuff, and you don't need that intense protection around the heel, toe, and everything, then the Leisure one is a bit more tailored to that. So I'm pretty sure all these shoes, the other shoes, will be available for pre-ordering at the same time. But if you do want a shoe now, the performance ones will be available in the near future.
Yeah.
And that'll be what you can order.
So there's a lot in the works. After talking about so many benefits and the future of this company, maybe we dig a little bit and we try to talk a little bit of smack. But are there any downsides of this when it comes to UC riding for you?
Honestly, nothing that jumps to mind immediately in terms of EUC riding. The only minor thing that I can think of is you have slightly less feedback of your foot to the pedal. And that's coming from someone who typically I don't wear shoes that have much protection when at EUC. I wear like Adidas, and I've mentioned this before in a previous episode. I tend to wear Ultra Boosts or like an Adidas running shoe or a Nike running shoe, which are foam soles and they're very soft and there's no
so you
reinforcement.
can feel everything that comes through.
Yeah, you can
from
feel
the
every little
bottom.
bump, and like you can feel the edge of the pedals. If you don't, if you're the kind of rider who kind of wraps your toe a bit on the front edge or heel on the back, you can kind of feel those edges more. They dig into your foot more.
Yeah. So you're used to feeling like where the pedal is and stuff. But with these shoes, it's kind of hard to feel that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So similarly, there's riders who wear like motorcycle boots, and I wear those as well occasionally, and those give you almost zero feedback because they're like entirely armored with steel plates. Right.
Exactly. And so you can't feel anything.
You can't feel anything with those. Your foot is just locked solid. And I mean, they're designed for you to be sitting motorcycle shoes, but people do wear them on EUCs because they provide so much more armor.
Yeah.
But I think that's a major downside is there's almost no feedback at all. And they're more tiring for your foot because of how flat and sturdy they are.
Yeah, and they're not made to be stood on. They're made to
Exactly.
be just having a little bit more pressure than, nothing.
Yeah, like on the pegs kind of thing.
Yeah, so this is a bit of a middle ground.
Yes. So this definitely gives you more feedback than that.
But it's still quite robust.
But it's more robust than a running shoe. So that, for me, would be one thing. And I'm sure there's other riders who fall into the same boat. If you ride typically with like a running shoe, you're going to feel a difference in terms of the feedback you get when switching to a high top like this with a more stiffer sole. Yeah. There obviously are a ton of pros with doing that in terms of protection and even comfort. Like maybe I'll let you touch on that, but I know you've ridden with these a lot. Do you find that extra sole and density that it gives you longer term comfort?
Well, actually, to answer that question, let me just go down real quick and grab the shoe that I've been using for a bit. So maybe we could see if there's any wear and tear now that we're talking about that.
That's a great idea, yeah.
We've showcased the actual shoe itself. So we're going to take a quick cut, which is actually going to be 2 seconds for you guys. It's going to appear, and I'm going to have the other shoe up here.
Awesome.
All right. So this is my shoe, and the shoe that I've been using for the past, week and a half, 2 weeks has it been now?
Yeah, I can see a few marks on here from clearly a used shoe. And actually what I love, you can see the sole's kind of dirtied up. What I love is the leather. You start to actually see like a patina and like the folds and creases coming in the leather.
Yeah, it's showing it's a real
compared
leather.
to like a brand new shoe. Yeah, showing that it's real leather, which real leather, obviously, if you don't know, is going to do that over time.
And I've scraped up the toe, but look at that as I rub it away. It's literally just superficial. So I didn't smack it up too bad. I think that was I was coming up the stairs to come home last night. I may have hit my toe. But yeah, the one thing I was a little bit worried about was the bottom.
Yep.
One of the creator asked me as well, because at first when he was developing these, I believe it was 4 years in the making now, since 2017. And studded pedals weren't really a thing back then when he started designing the sole.
Nor were like large pedals.
Yeah. So he's asking, let me know how the effects of the studs are. So let's, you're going to get it public with the other people, I'm sure, unless we send you this live.
Yeah, lots of people are using studs now, so it's really good to check this out.
Do I notice any
like rips or tears in there?
Or tears? I see dirt, stones, not really stones actually, because the design here, which is one thing he's thought about, doesn't
collect little stones. Yeah, he mentioned that.
And it's right. You know what? He's
I have that issue on running shoes all the time where like you step on like some gravel or loose, like the small gravel, you'll get these little pieces of gravel that stick in between the pattern in your sole.
Yeah.
And then you can feel them. They're like little rocks.
So this here, I don't see any rocks. And, we did a lot. We were in weird places last night. I was all over rocks and stuff like that. And I never had anything stick up into my foot. And as I look now, there's nothing on here. And there's no fractures. There's no cuts into that sole. It's still very good and robust. And I've only ridden these probably
100 kilometers?
Maybe 150 to 200, but that's it. Not much more than that. So we'll see how the, first initial, you start to get, like you said, that pulling there. But at the same time, talking smack.
Yep.
The glue on this edge starts to come off of that leather as it forms to your foot.
Oh, yeah.
It's not the same as the design from factory, so it'll form around the bones, and then you start to get a little bit of that pulling of the glue there.
Okay.
So with that being public, the first run, I see it not really being an issue because it's holding on really well, especially with that thread underneath. It hasn't really been an issue.
Yeah, you can see it's sewn together like down in the sole.
Yeah, and a lot of the other shoes that you ride with the high tops have this design with the rubber that comes up against whatever material, like little leather here, and it does kind of pull apart, and this isn't as bad as what I'm used to.
Okay.
But it is starting to happen, so it's a thing to be aware. That does happen with these types of shoes.
And this... just the area you're mentioning is your inside right foot, so that would be rubbing against your wheel.
And I'm always pushing into that. I'm always pulling up onto that. So
it's a high wear point, right?
Oh, it's taking a lot of abuse.
Yeah.
A lot of abuse.
It makes me think of like with motorcycle shoes. When you're shifting gears, the top of the shoe becomes a high wear point because the gear shifter, you're using your toe to like kick it up.
Yeah,
and
I noticed
a piece of metal, right? So it can over time destroy the top of your shoe really easily.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit right foot dominant when it comes to riding EUC, and I notice on my left shoe I don't have that pulling away.
Okay.
I don't have that forming
so it's
like
your
that
foot
is.
that you lock in, your dominant foot.
Yeah, exactly.
That's against the wheel.
Even on that side, it's not bad.
No, that looks fine. Yeah, looks fine.
There we go, pulling the light up out of the way. Here we are. But yeah, I don't notice too much yet. Now let me abuse these a little bit more, and we'll see. But the comments that we're getting from people out in public, when they see these, when they ask about these, there's good, genuine interest. And people there's been a lot of sighs of relief. They're like, oh, finally, someone's thought about this.
Yeah.
I think that was our reaction too.
Oh,
when
definitely.
we first heard about these, we're like...
I kept switching shoes the first few years of riding EUC. Like, I couldn't decide what style of shoe I enjoyed wearing. I tried my motorcycle shoes because I already had those, and they turned out to be far too stiff, like I mentioned. Yes, there's protection, but I'm not a fan of how little feedback you get.
Yeah,
and that's
what you get with protection shoes or
Yeah.
like, you know,
Like
a safety
steel toe
shoes.
safety boots or something, which
Exactly.
some people wear as well.
Yeah, it takes a lot of the comfort, but in sake for safety, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So EUC's kind of, if you go that crazy route, your feet will always be fine. They'll be fatigued as hell because they're in weird shoes.
Yep.
This is kind of that middle ground.
Yep.
Like we keep saying, that middle ground. That's really nice. So that's the difference that you kind of feel with these.
Yeah, for sure. And I've tried, like regular casual shoes. I wear like the Lacoste leather shoes that are just, walking shoes. And then I wear Adidas Ultra Boost a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And in between all those, I've kind of settled on the Ultra Boost over the years just because of the comfort they give for longer distance riding, I guess.
Yeah.
But these, I think, will be like the perfect middle ground because I always feel like I kind of feel naked wearing mesh like running shoes that have zero protection.
Yeah.
One fall and I'm probably gonna break something or
yeah, exactly,
hurt my
right?
foot pretty easily.
And especially on long rides, there's infinitely more obstacles that you have to address and avoid. And
that pedal smashes into your heel or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what are some common issues that people have when they're trying to mitigate with all these other shoes and stuff? Just at the end of a ride, your feet being so sore, and so you get some padded shoe, and then you can't feel the pedal. So there's so many more. You try to mitigate these issues with other things, and then you end up running into new issues, right? So I think like the foot fatigue of just like the bones in between your feet hurting, and like the muscles up in the arch of your foot are always hurting, and it's like this is a specific to EUC thing.
It is,
right?
I think these are good too. They have a lot of space if you're someone who uses like orthopedic inserts for your shoes.
Yeah, you could rip these out and put your own in.
Yeah, you can easily. There's lots of space. Put yours in there, and it'll be very comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like that same feeling where once I put these on, there's been so much padding thought out and put up into the higher end here. Mm-hmm. It's almost like a little house when I get my foot into there, nice, and there's some space where if you want to wear some thicker socks, that's I have a size shoe here that I can get away with a thicker size sock to keep my foot nice and warm.
Yep.
On those really cold days, because this actually isolates your foot pretty good, and can't wait for it to get hot so I could see. I know the people in maybe Nevada are the people. We have a lot of American viewers now, so people in those hotter climates, they're going to be asking, my feet are sweating in these
for sure.
So I'm excited to see if
all
they
leather
will.
All leather. There is some venting like you mentioned, which helps with air intake. These are holes
it's that minimal venting. It's in the two tiny little vents, but they are vents and they are there and they do work. And it's right in the arch, right?
Yeah, and it also, one thing in terms of not really a negative, but something that I noted in the pair that I'm wearing. I'm typically a size 10 US in every other shoe and all my Adidas, etc. And I find these fit a half size too big. But that's just for me. So I'm wearing a 9.5 and it's perfect. So there is half sizes available for these. So something to consider. How about you? How's your sizing for it? Because so for me, I found you said like there's a bit of extra room for larger socks or something, and I would agree with that. And so it comes down to personal preference. Like I like a tighter shoe. For everyone listening, I'm used to a shoe like an Adidas that's like a mesh, wraps your entire foot, right? Yep. So there's no really air gap between your foot and the upper of the shoe.
It's nice and tight.
It's nice and tight on the upper, and I also have pretty skinnier feet on the upper side. So, but for these, I definitely had to downsize by half a size because I found them kind of roomy on the inside.
Yeah.
In my normal size, which some people may be okay with. The length was not an issue. I found it just a bit too roomier. So I went down a half size. The length is still fine for me. Like my toes right at basically at the end, but it's a bit more form-fitting around the top of my foot and the sides.
Yeah, so generally these are a size 11, and I try, if possible, to get 11 and a halves.
Oh,
and that's where kind of my feet sit, because if I get an 11, there's a potential of my toe getting crammed in there.
Yep.
When I've been wearing these, they are an 11 and my toe's not being cramped. So I will join you in saying half size smaller is your size in these.
Perfect.
Because I would go for an 11 and a half.
Crazy.
Just to ensure I have that extra room, that little, and not as much as what you were saying before to the negative, but to that form fitting enough where I can have a thicker sock and not be crouched.
Yep.
Right? And the length is still good all the way up. Now, I don't think I've tried really super thick socks in these, but I've tried my thicker socks, my warmer socks, and they fit very nice.
Nice. So, and these are size 11, and you typically are 11 and a half. So same for you.
Yeah. And one thing for the sizing and the fit too, there's so much material in here, and it's been, he's like, we've said, he's been sourcing more of the higher grade materials. So it's not a thin like Converse.
Yeah.
You know, it's more
There's padding too. Like
it's
pretty
not
thick.
it's not a winter boot where it's actually like keeping you warm,
Mhm.
but there's enough material here
It
that when you
insulates.
bind them up and when you put them on, it snugs up very nicely. It doesn't snug up like in a weird fit or like that Converse really thin, like it feels like you have a sock on.
Yep.
This kind of hugs your foot.
Yeah, and it is important to note the inside's not leather, right? So the inside
Right.
is a fabric, which is stitched to the leather. So the outside is a leather, and then on the inside, both on the entire upper section, it's kind of I don't know if it's glued together, but you can definitely see a layer of leather, and then you can see the fabric on the inside of that leather, like right where the laces go. It's all fabric on the inside there.
Oh yes. And you could probably pull it up right at the end to see that.
exactly. Yep.
Yep,
And so
there
that's
it
what you're
is.
feeling on the inside too. So that adds like an extra thickness to it.
Yeah, and it's
because
comfortable
it's multi-layered. Yep.
Have you ever had shoes that are leather on the inside?
Yeah. I
Really?
mean, like some dress shoes.
Oh, I
that
guess
are
true.
Just
Yeah.
all leather, right?
Yeah. That would not be comfortable.
Yeah. But
You know.
there. What about your the Vans that you wear? Is it similar to this?
Should we pull those up too and just compare side by side?
If you want, yeah.
We'll do it quick.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So these were the shoes that I was wearing before finding these. What were we saying?
I was just curious about the material. So it looks like a similar design here, where they've got the leather on the outside.
Have you ever had shoes with leather on the inside? Bro, that's exactly what I was wearing. Why didn't I cue into that? That would not be
Those are right.
That's exactly what this
They
is.
literally wrap around.
Wow, am I ever not in touch? And I
See, this is why I
completely
mentioned
recall
it.
that every time I go to put these
Yeah,
on,
and
that I
look-
don't want to wear them in colder conditions.
You can also really compare the thickness.
Feel that sidewall.
Yeah, the sidewall, how thin this is when you squeeze. Like my fingers are
It's
almost touching here.
It's a casual shoe. It's not.
Yeah,
It's
whereas
not made
this
for.
has a ton of padding and of course,
They just
like
look
some
really cool.
armor on the heel here.
They just look cool.
No, those are great. But it's funny the all leather versus the
Comparison to this, where you get like protection,
Mhm.
you know, and the sole here.
Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah. Look how bendy that is.
Like
It looks deceiving too because it looks like it's a stiff sole, but no, you can't.
Here's a test. Here's a
do that with
test.
these.
Ready? Here's my old shoe.
Like you can kind of do it, but not nearly as well. Yeah, especially the heel. Yeah. So actually, if you go back to the clip at the beginning of the episode, you'll see it's part of the sole design.
Possible, but
There's a reinforcement plate in like the lower 2/3 of the shoe. So from here forward where your toes are, it does bend a little more easily.
but
which
the
is
heel
good
back here.
because you can accelerate, like you said, the power pads for your feet.
Yeah.
But back here, this entire lower 2/3 of the shoe is not going to bend because you have that reinforced section of the sole there. If you look
Yeah.
at the clip from the beginning, you can see where it breaks down the sole in pieces. You'll see that piece that's like the lower 2/3 here.
Yeah. So it's been very well thought out.
Yep.
That's for sure. Yeah, that's exciting. I didn't think that bend was going to go as well as it did. But eventually the shoe was just like, oh, you want me to bend? Push harder.
Yeah.
Push harder. And it did, but
Yeah.
there's definitely
It
a point.
stops right there.
There's definitely a point where
Yeah.
it's just like, no, this is where the bend point is.
Yeah. Which is good.
Try to bend that back part.
Oh,
but
you
I
can't. There's a really strong reinforcement there.
What the?
You don't want to either. Yeah, look at that. That's really good. We're gonna do the bend test live on air.
Well, that's what I want to do with these and try like the top half. Like if you're torquing forward, it will allow you.
Yeah, what you want.
And it won't cage you in.
You want that.
Damn,
'Cause
that back half I didn't realize.
I love to ride on my toes. Like I tend to ride with pedals either flat or angled backwards 1 degree because I like that like sensation of being on the toes. Yeah, yours at the heel, it just folds in half. Exactly. That's a good comparison.
That's that.
Yeah.
That happened.
So I mean,
Okay,
we're
I thought it was going
excited
to be a
about
little bit
these.
more of a comparable test there.
Yeah. No, there's no comparison at all. Which is actually surprising because the sole on your shoe looks pretty thick, but it has insane amounts of give. And this is what you just did here is what would happen on my running shoe too.
It looks thicker because of the artificial rubber at the top.
I would say it's like around the same.
Well, I mean,
But
it's
it's what's inside that matters, right?
But also, like, if you compare it's basically a sock. Like,
Yep.
look at that size.
Yep.
It's basically like a sock where you put these side by side.
Yeah.
They're two shoes.
Yeah. There's armor, right? It's rock hard.
Yeah, knock
here.
that one more time. Like,
Hopefully you guys.
and
can
then
hear
hold
that.
on, dude. Let's do the same knock on my other shoes.
Similar,
But you could.
but it folds.
It folds
Just
in
bends
just like a
in.
piece of paper.
Yeah.
Which is, why people like these shoes and they're comfortable and whatnot.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're like, yeah, I'm just wearing like a leather sock.
Yeah, we're excited for these. So stay tuned for next week.
Yeah.
Next week's is going to be a special episode of PEV Lane. We're going to do our full review on these shoes after having ridden them. Hopefully, at least 200 to 300 kilometers.
Yeah,
I know,
we're going to do some riding later today, maybe
Yeah.
some tomorrow and whatnot.
do some off-roading,
It'll rack up after
do some
a
more
few
city
weeks, so-
riding.
Yeah.
We'll have had these for a few weeks, so hopefully we'll be able to give like a good
Yeah, so this
review.
is an unboxing where we show you the product.
just initial impressions.
And then next week, since we've already been riding them for a bit, we can give you a proper review, which does take about 3 weeks of riding or more
yeah,
to
so we
really
got a break in the shoe.
Yeah, and this is a
test
week and a
it
half,
out.
2 weeks.
Yep.
So we have about another week left in these from when we're recording now.
Yes.
We should be able to have that good opinion out for you for an actual review come next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you have any questions about these or, any skeptics out there, anyone like that, or people who are just super excited,
Yeah.
we'll
We'll link
tuned.
to the website top of the description.
Mhm.
So check down there, and in the description on the podcast side as well, and the audio side, we'll have the link. So check out their website, take a look at the shoes,
Yeah.
and stay tuned
And-
for more.
Just a disclaimer, we are associated with the launch of these to help bring these out to the market, but we're not being paid. We have been paid in a pair of shoes for each of us, and that is going towards testing as well and just enjoying and having for ourselves. So just to throw that out there, I like to be transparent if possible. And
Yeah.
in the future,
I think it speaks to the testament of the shoes, because if we didn't like them, we could just get rid of them.
yeah.
So
And in the future, if it does come to a point where these are loved by the community and a lot of people want to buy them, we'll let you know if we're making money or if we're taking a decision where we're going to do some proper promo for these. So we like to be transparent.
yeah, just an awesome local rider who decided to
Reached out to us and said, hey,
fill a void in the
Yeah.
in this community, right? I think there's definitely a void for specifically designed PEV shoes.
yeah,
And
maybe that could
I'm
be
really
a question
excited
for
this.
today.
Yeah,
Does this fill a void? Is this something we haven't seen
are
to
you
the
guys
point?
interested in this?
And are you
would you buy
interested?
a pair of PEV shoes? Let
Yeah.
us know.
And I think we'll talk about the price point maybe in the next episode as well, because
Yeah,
it hasn't
definitely.
launched yet. So we'll let you know. But it is a premium product and it will come at a somewhat premium cost. Of course, you'd want to make sure you get what you pay for in that sense as well. So I'm letting you know that it would be worth your money, in my opinion, personally. So yeah, we're excited for the launch of it.
Very good.
Should we close things off there?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So make sure you comment, like, subscribe, share with your friends. I know we missed last week, but we're just making sure that we have some appropriate content for you guys and that we're not just making up willy-nilly episodes for no reason.
Lots of planning to do for these as well, and
Mhm.
some fun stuff coming in the future.
Yeah, and if you have episode suggestions, we're always here to listen to you, and we always want to give content out to the people. So let us know what you want to see, and we still have plans for future episodes that are coming out. So we'll try to squeeze some new ones in there and some hopeful interviews to go. And we'll talk to some new people. I know we haven't done an interview.
Yes,
In a little while,
we'll
so-
have one of those coming up soon, I think.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
Yeah.
So stay tuned, and we'll see you next time on PEV Lane.
Peace out.
Peace.